Have you ever felt like you're playing by rules no one else follows? That you're constantly misunderstood, or that situations just seem to happen to you, leaving you feeling powerless? We're often told to be idealistic, to always be good. But what if that very idealism leaves you vulnerable in a world that isn't always fair or kind? When you hear the name Niccolò Machiavelli, what comes to mind? Ruthless? Manipulative? The dark architect of deceit? That's the popular image, the one that makes us flinch. But what if that image is a carefully constructed shield, hiding a truth far more profound and incredibly liberating for your own life? This isn't about becoming a villain. It's about becoming incredibly effective. It's about unveiling Machiavelli's true hidden lessons, not for manipulating others, but for mastering your own circumstances, for gaining unshakable personal control, and for navigating life's challenges with absolute clarity. If you're tired of feeling like a pawn in someone else's game, this video holds the answers you've been seeking. Get ready to truly see the world and yourself as they are. So, who was this figure so often shrouded in controversy, whose very name conjures images of ruthless cunning? Niccolò Machiavelli was no armchair philosopher. He was a statesman, a diplomat, a political theorist forged in the crucible of Renaissance Florence, a city relentlessly battered by brutal power struggles, dizzying betrayals, and constant upheaval. Imagine living in a time where survival wasn't a given, where your city could be invaded, your leaders overthrown, and your own life turned upside down in an instant. This wasn't a world for the faint of heart, and it certainly wasn't a place for naive idealism. Machiavelli lived and breathed this reality, where understanding human nature and the mechanics of power wasn't an academic exercise, but a matter of sheer necessity. His most famous work, The Prince, often mislabeled as some dark, evil manifesto, was anything but. It wasn't a guide on how rulers should act according to lofty moral principles. Instead, it was a cold, hard, unflinching look at how power is actually gained, actually wielded, and actually lost in the unpredictable, often brutal real world. It was a groundbreaking analysis based on his own first-hand observations, his triumphs, and his bitter exile. He simply documented what he saw. He held up a mirror to human nature itself, a mirror that can be deeply uncomfortable to look into, forcing us to confront truths about ourselves and others that we often prefer to ignore. But it is precisely in this discomfort that profound clarity and immense power for your own self-awareness are born. Are you truly ready to look into that mirror and see the world as it genuinely is? Machiavelli's lessons aren't for the faint of heart, but they are incredibly practical. Let's break down the core principles you can apply, not to control others, but to control your own destiny. Principle 1. See the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Realism over idealism. You've been nurtured, perhaps since childhood, to be optimistic, to inherently believe in the absolute best in people, to hope for ideal outcomes. And on the surface, that's a beautiful, noble way to approach life. But Machiavelli, with his razor-sharp realism, would offer a stark, yet crucial warning. That very idealism, when left unchecked and ungrounded, is, paradoxically, your greatest vulnerability. He wasn't advocating for cynicism or a jaded outlook on humanity. No, his teaching was about cultivating a profound, unvarnished realism. He saw people as they are, complex beings often driven by their own self-interest, by underlying fears, and by their personal ambitions, not as we might wish them to be, always acting with pure altruism. Now, think about your own experiences. How many times have you been deeply disappointed, even crushed, because you implicitly expected others to act with the same unwavering integrity, the same selfless motivation, or the same predictable logic as you would? How often does your mind spin into cycles of overthinking a situation precisely because you're desperately trying to force it into an unrealistic, almost fairy tale, ideal scenario? Machiavelli's powerful message is clear. Don't be naive. Stop expecting perfect alignment. Instead, proactively strive to understand the true motivations behind actions, both yours and others. Anticipate that obstacles will inevitably arise, that resistance is a given, and that yes, people might not always act in your best interest. This isn't about becoming hardened or cold. It's about becoming profoundly prepared and strategically aware. When you truly understand the rules of the game, you stop being a bewildered, reactive player and start becoming a calculated, strategic one. This shift dramatically reduces your disappointment and frustration, effectively quieting the relentless internal noise fueled by unmet, unrealistic expectations. It empowers you to navigate reality with clear eyes and steady hands. Principle 2. The importance of virtue. Skill, vigor, decisive action. Now let's redefine a word you thought you knew: virtue. For Carl Jung, it might have meant psychological wholeness. For the Stoics, moral excellence. But for Machiavelli, virtue held a completely different, profoundly practical meaning. Forget notions of moral goodness. For Machiavelli, virtue was about raw, potent skill, unyielding vigor, inner strength, incredible adaptability, and, most crucially, the unwavering ability to act decisively. It's that inner fire, that driving force, that allows you to not just recognize an opportunity, but to seize it with both hands, and to overcome formidable obstacles standing in your way. It's the sheer force of your will applied to the world. Think about your own life. How often do you find yourself completely paralyzed by analysis, trapped in endless cycles of overthinking every single step, meticulously weighing every possible outcome, perpetually waiting for the perfect moment to arrive, or worse, waiting for someone else to finally give you permission to move forward? Machiavelli, if he were speaking directly to you, would practically scream, "Take initiative. Stop merely wishing for things to happen. Make them happen. Act. Cultivate undeniable competence in your chosen field, becoming so good they can't ignore you. Don't shy away from risk. Learn to embrace calculated risks that push you forward. And if, inevitably, your initial plan fails, don't despair. Adapt swiftly, pivot, and find a new path. Your true power, your ultimate control, isn't found in endless deliberation, in hypothetical scenarios. It's found in bold, decisive action. This powerful principle directly counters the debilitating paralysis of overthinking, propelling you from a state of stagnant rumination into one of incredibly powerful, effective doing. It transforms your mental energy into real-world results. Principle 3. Adaptability. Be a fox and a lion. Flexibility and force. This is perhaps one of Machiavelli's most famous and enduring metaphors, a powerful insight into the dynamic nature of power and influence. He argued that a truly effective leader, a prince in his time, must embody a unique duality. Be both cunning like a fox and forceful like a lion. The fox, he explained, recognizes traps, anticipates deception, and navigates complex landscapes with shrewd strategy. It's about intelligence, foresight, and avoiding pitfalls through cunning. The lion, conversely, frightens off threats with raw power, acting decisively and without hesitation when sheer force is required. It's about courage, directness, and overwhelming obstacles. Now think deeply about your own life. Do you find yourself consistently leaning on one mode, even when another would serve you better? Are you always diplomatic, perhaps even when you need to be firm and assertive, risking being walked over? Or are you always forceful, even when a touch of subtlety, a strategic retreat, or a nuanced approach would yield far better results? The inability to seamlessly switch between these modes, to be rigidly stuck in one way of thinking or behaving, is precisely what leaves you vulnerable. Machiavelli teaches us a critical lesson. Know when to be diplomatic and when to be uncompromising. Understand your unique strengths and weaknesses in any given situation. Be profoundly versatile in your approach to problems, recognizing that what works in one scenario might utterly fail in another. This profound wisdom actively liberates you from rigid thinking, from the fear of changing tactics, and from the frustration of banging your head against a wall. It allows you to adapt effectively, to pivot strategically, and to move forward powerfully, especially when initial plans inevitably go awry. It is the key to navigating a dynamic world without succumbing to rigidity or breaking under pressure. Principle 4. Avoid contempt and hatred. The art of managing perceptions and relationships. Here's another profound, if seemingly ruthless, insight from Machiavelli that holds immense practical value for your own life. While he wrote about leaders, his most intense practical advice for a prince's survival was this: above all else, a leader must avoid being hated or contemptible. These two emotions, he warned, are the absolute downfall of any authority, any power, any influence. Hatred breeds rebellion, and contempt breeds disregard. Both unravel everything you've built. Now bring that to your own life. How are you genuinely perceived by others in your professional sphere, your social circles, your personal relationships? Do you act impulsively, driven by immediate emotions, inadvertently creating unnecessary enemies, or engaging in draining conflicts that leave you exhausted? Do you constantly chase after superficial popularity, seeking fleeting validation, instead of cultivating genuine, earned respect that truly endures? Machiavelli's counsel here is piercingly clear. Focus relentlessly on earning respect, not just ephemeral popularity. Understand, with cold objectivity, how your words and actions are truly perceived by those who are important to your goals and your peace. Build your alliances carefully, not on sentiment alone, but on a foundation of mutual benefit and clear understanding. Crucially, avoid unnecessary conflicts that drain your precious emotional and mental energy, fueling endless cycles of rumination and regret. This principle is about consciously and strategically managing your reputation and your interactions. It's about preventing the kind of emotional fallout that inevitably leads to endless internal noise and a pervasive feeling of losing control over your relationships. It's not about being fake. It's about being strategic in how you present and conduct yourself to build sustainable influence and maintain your inner calm. Principle 5. Necessity and prudence. Know when to act and why. This final principle from Machiavelli serves as a powerful filter, a strategic compass for your actions. His approach to governance, and by extension to life, was always fundamentally guided by necessity, by what was absolutely required to achieve desired outcomes, not by fleeting emotions, not by rigid moralizing, but by what was effective and essential. Coupled with this was prudence, which meant the rigorous, rational process of carefully weighing all the pros and cons, understanding the landscape, and always keeping the ultimate desired goal firmly in mind before making a move. How often do you find yourself drawn into pointless arguments, debates that lead nowhere but drain your spirit? Do you frequently waste your precious energy on trivial pursuits, or engage in tasks that deep down you know don't genuinely serve your larger vision or your personal growth? Machiavelli, with his characteristic no-nonsense approach, would cut through all that noise with brutal clarity. Focus relentlessly on outcomes. Don't allow an idealized view of how things should be, or succumb to external pressures, to blind you to the most practical, most effective solutions available right now. Take action only when it is truly necessary, when it directly and undeniably serves your purpose and propels you towards your objectives. This principle is a powerful, unyielding filter against indecision, against getting sidetracked by trivial distractions, and against the mental clutter of overthinking. It forces you to prioritize, to be efficient, and to direct your vital energy only where it counts. It transforms passive rumination into purposeful, impactful action. Now it's absolutely crucial that we address the elephant in the room. That pervasive, often uncomfortable image of Machiavelli. The common, villainous interpretation of his name. The one that immediately makes him sound like a ruthless, amoral puppet master, is precisely what we are not promoting. This isn't about becoming a sinister figure, devoid of empathy, calculating every move for personal gain at the expense of others. Far from it. Machiavelli's genius and his controversy stemmed from one fundamental fact. He documented what is, not what should be. He meticulously observed and described human behavior as he saw it play out in the cutthroat political arena of his time, not as he believed it morally ought to behave. He was a stark realist, not a moral philosopher prescribing ethics. Therefore, using his principles for your own personal growth, self-protection, and enhanced agency is fundamentally, ethically, and philosophically different from employing them for exploitative manipulation or deceit against others. We are absolutely not advocating for deception, ruthlessness, or a cynical disregard for others' well-being. Instead, the profound lessons we extract from The Prince are about self-mastery, about sharpening your perception of the world around you, understanding the true dynamics at play, and gaining unshakable agency over your own life, your own decisions, and your own outcomes. It's about navigating a complex world with clear eyes, not through a veil of naive idealism that leaves you vulnerable. Your personal moral compass, your deepest values, still serve as the ultimate guide for how you choose to apply these insights. This isn't about embracing evil. It's about becoming effective and resilient in a complex, often challenging world. It's about protecting your energy, making informed choices, and charting your own course without being controlled by the unseen currents of others' actions or manipulations. This knowledge empowers you to build, not to destroy. So what profound transformations can you expect from embracing the wisdom of this often misunderstood master? Machiavelli's stark realism, his emphasis on virtue, that potent blend of skill, vigor, and decisive action, his call for adaptability to any circumstance, and his strategic insights into managing perceptions and avoiding unnecessary conflict, all serve one powerful purpose. They profoundly empower you. These aren't just abstract ideas. They are direct tools that allow you to systematically reclaim your personal sovereignty, to become the true ruler of your own life. You gain an incredibly powerful, clear-eyed lens through which to view human nature, life's inevitable challenges, and your own path forward. You'll shift from being a passive reactor, constantly responding to external pressures or others' agendas, to becoming a strategic actor, making conscious, calculated moves. This deep understanding radically transforms your approach to goal setting, how you navigate relationship dynamics, and how you make critical decisions. You'll approach the world with newfound clarity, unwavering purpose, and remarkable effectiveness, finally taking the reins of your own destiny with both hands. This isn't just about problem solving. It's about stepping into a profound new level of personal control, where you consciously shape your reality rather than merely reacting to it. You become the author of your own story, not just a character in someone else's. What Machiavellian principle resonates most with you for your own life right now? How will you begin to apply these insights to gain more control? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your courage helps spark understanding for everyone. If this exploration of pragmatism and personal power resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more profound psychological insights and philosophical wisdom. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Next, we'll shift gears again, exploring a philosophy that perfectly complements this pragmatic view: Stoicism. We'll uncover how the ancient Stoics mastered their inner world, finding peace and strength amidst external chaos. You'll learn powerful techniques to manage emotions, build resilience, and truly flourish, regardless of circumstances. You won't want to miss this transformative perspective.